Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rao. Thanks so much for tuning in this Monday morning. We have lots lined up ahead for you. All the election news, all the COVID news and the Grammy news. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking at this hour. The BJP announces its list of candidates for 4 states in Bengal. Minister Babul Supriyo, BJP MP Locket Chatterjee are drafted for the polls, while actor Khushbu Sundar finds a place in their list for Tamil Nadu. There's no stopping me, says Mamta Banerjee as she holds a rally in Kolkata on a wheelchair, warns that a wounded tiger is more dangerous. 9 bank unions have called for a 2-day nationwide strike starting today to protest against the proposed privatization of 2 state-owned lenders by the government. Bank services expected to be hit. Maharashtra reports over 16,000 daily COVID cases. That's the highest this year, while Delhi has recorded over 400 cases for the 4th consecutive day. Well, our top story, the BJP has announced its candidate for 4 states. So let's just take a look at some of those names. First, in West Bengal, the BJP announced 27 candidate list for Bengal polls. And the list includes 4 MPs, including Locket Chatterjee, Swapan Das Gupta, Babul Supriyo, a singer turned politician and junior environment minister who will contest from Tollygunj in Kolkata, the heart of the state's film industry. Actor turned politician Locket Chatterjee will run from Shinsura in the Hooghly district, while Swapan Das Gupta from Tarkesh in the same district. 4 celebrities are also part of the BJP's list, including actor Yash Das Gupta, who will contest from Chanditala, Hooghly, and actor Payal Sarkar from Behala East. Now, if we take a look at Tamil Nadu, the BJP released its first list of 6 candidates for the upcoming polls, and actor Khushbu Sundar has found a place in the BJP's first list of candidates. The actor, a politician who had quit the Congress last year, will be contesting from Chennai's 1000 Lights constituency against DMK's Dr. Ezilan. Tamil Nadu BJP chief L. Murugan is contesting in Dharapuram constituency in Tirupur district. Also, a DMK MLA who had quit and joined the BJP on Sunday will be contesting from North Madurai. And if we look at Kerala, the BJP will be contesting on 115 seats, and the rest of the 25 seats will be left for 4 alliance parties. Metroman E. Sridharan will contest from the Palakkad Assembly constituency. Kerala BJP chief K. Sundaran will be contesting from 2 constituencies, Mangeshwar in Kasargod and Koni in Pathanamthitai. Now, in Assam, the BJP to contest in 92 seats. Its allies will fight in the rest. The party released 17 candidates and names for the phase 3 of Assam polls. Chandra Mohan Patwari to fight the polls from Dharampur. Now, Mamta Banerjee made her first public appearance on Sunday after sustaining injuries to her leg during a rally in West Bengal's Nandigram. The chief minister conducted a roadshow on a wheelchair. It was quite a sight, and she warned that a wounded tiger is extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, the Election Commission says there was no evidence that the Bengal chief minister was attacked at Nandigram, but at the same time has suspended the director for security lapses.
A picture speaks 1,000 words. This one, a force multiplier. On a wheelchair, on the main streets of Kolkata, the streets where she can outwalk anyone. Mamta Banerjee, fighting for a 3rd term as Bengal Chief Minister, fighting, she said, for democracy, fighting like a wounded tiger.
আমি বলি আমার যন্ত্রণা আছে, কিন্তু শারীরিক যন্ত্রণা থেকে কি জানেন? হৃদয়ের যন্ত্রণা অনেক বড়, গণতন্ত্রের যন্ত্রণা অনেক বড়। সারা শরীরেই আমার কালো কালো চিহ্ন ভর্তি। আমি হুইল চেয়ারে ভাঙা পায়ে আমি সারা বাংলা ঘুরে বেড়াবো আর খেলা হবে।
This on a day the Election Commission ruled that Mamta Banerjee had been injured not in an attack but in an accident and shunted 3 officers for lapses in her security. But on the streets, no one was listening.
जीते के लिए जीतेगी दीदी छाड़ा क्यों नहीं শুধু দিদি জিতবে
ইলেকশন কমিশন সুপ্রিম কোর্ট সমস্ত ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল এগুলোকে এই সরকার নিজের মতো করে পরিচালনা করছে
The BJP unmoved by the wheelchair. After the EC ruled, it relaunched its attack on Mamta Banerjee for playing victim.
ये विक्टिम कार्ड तो हम लोग देखे हैं कि अगर उसको पूरा अभी जो लक्ष्य है वो लक्ष्य से वो पूरा बाहर हो गया है, वो डर गया है कि 21 में तृणमूल सरकार नहीं आएगा, इसलिए ये विक्टिम कार्ड चल रहा है.
Mamta is known to have her finger on the pulse of the people. She did not wheelchair 5 kilometers through central Kolkata for nothing. Will the BJP be able to derail her in her race for Bengal? In Kolkata with G.D. Shankar, Mamta Banerjee, NDTV.
Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah held a mega roadshow at Kharagpur in West Bengal on Sunday evening, which saw a huge crowd. State BJP Chief Dilip Ghosh and Party General Secretary Kailash Vijayvargiya were also present at the event. Shah waved at the spectators and showered rose petals on the participants. As a candidate for Kharagpur Sadar constituency, Hiran Chatterjee, who is also a film star, stood by his side.
निश्चित परिवर्तन होगा. 200 से ज्यादा सीटों के साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में यहां सरकार बनाने जा रही है. 2017 से बंगाल में घूमता हूं. निश्चित बंगाल की जनता परिवर्तन चाहती है और इस बार यहां भारतीय जनता पार्टी का विजय है.
And it was a day of rally hopping for the Home Minister. Earlier, he was in Assam, where he attacked the Congress to what he claimed its alliance with communal forces. He attended a poll rally in Margarita in Assam, and the Home Minister claimed that in 5 years, the BJP has made Assam Andolan Mukt, and in the next 5 years, it will make Assam Flood Mukt.
मित्रों, कांग्रेस पार्टी को आपका दिया हुआ एक-एक वोट बदरुद्दीन अजमल को मिलेगा और बदरुद्दीन अजमल को मिला हुआ एक-एक वोट आसाम को घुसपैठियों से भर देगा. आपको तय करना है कि कौन सी पार्टी चाहिए. घुसपैठ कराने वाली पार्टी चाहिए या घुसपैठियों को उखाड़ कर बाहर फेंकने वाली पार्टी चाहिए. मित्रों, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी ही कर सकती.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah held 2 rallies in Assam today, and he launched a straight attack on the Congress and more so on Congress ally Maulana Badruddin Ajmal led AIUDF, because he said that how can Congress think of making Assam free when it has partnered with Ajmal. In fact, Amit Shah went on to question the Congress on its alliance with Muslim League or ISF in Muslim League in Kerala and ISF in Bengal. So kind of Amit Shah tried to link the situation and the alliance of the Congress in other poll-bound states with that of Assam. In fact, he also claimed that when the BJP government came to power, it ensured that Assam actually became Andolan Mukt. And this time he promised that Assam will be flood Mukt. So making promises and also attacking the opposition, these seats which will go to polls in the first phase, the 47 seats out of 126 are very crucial, because watchers believe that whoever takes the lead in the first phase would eventually perhaps go to form the government. And in the previous election in 2016, the BJP and its allies have done tremendously well in this region, winning 35 out of the 47 seats. They would not only would like to retain but capitalize, whereas the Congress, which is the main party from the alliance fighting in these seats, would like to regain ground. Not only Amit Shah, even Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was in Assam. He held a couple of rallies, and Rajnath Singh also claimed that the improvement in the law and order situation has allowed more development in Assam.
News now from Tamil Nadu, where a fan of actor Kamal Haasan tried to open his car window, and the man was then beaten up by his supporters. Let's go across to Sam Daniel for more. Initially, Sam, the news came that Kamal Haasan's car has been attacked, but it seems what took place was very different. Give us the details.
That's right, Gargi. Police say there was no motive in terms of an attempt to attack Kamal Haasan or his car, but this person who has been nabbed and attacked by the crowd there, police say, is an ardent fan of Kamal Haasan, but they allege he was under the influence of alcohol. He tried to open the car window of Kamal Haasan as he left Kanchipuram after speaking at a public meeting. And this man has been hospitalized, and police rule out any attempt to either attack the actor turned politician or his car or any other motive, but his party members say they're examining the intent of this particular man. And this has happened a day before Kamal Hassan would actually file his nomination at Coimbatore, from where he's attempting to get into the Tamil Nadu Assembly. He fights from the Coimbatore South constituency, and yesterday, last evening, in fact, he had a public meeting in Kanchipuram, because when this attack happened. But there's no formal response from Kamal Hassan's team, but this is what police say, and investigation is on.
All right, Sam, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So it was a fan who was attempting to open the car door, and he was severely beaten by Kamal Hassan's supporters. In other news now, the United Forum of Bank Unions, which represents 9 bank unions, has called for a 2-day nationwide strike from today to protest against the proposed privatization of 2 state-owned lenders by the government. Banks were already closed on the 13th and March 14th, which now means a 4-day break in regular banking operations. Services such as deposits, withdrawals at branches, check clearance and loan approvals would be affected due to this strike. However, ATMs are likely to remain functional. About 10 lakh bank employees and officers of banks will participate in this 2-day strike. On to the farmers' protests now, and several youngsters have kept aside their professional ambitions to stand in solidarity with the protesting farmers. NDTV Sonakshi Chakrabarti met with one of them, 29-year-old Navkiran Nut, who belongs to Mansa district in Punjab, who has a degree in film studies and has been volunteering at the Tikri border for the last 3 months.
Navkiran Nut, thank you for speaking to us. You have a story that could inspire many youngsters to really tell them that there is a reason why youngsters are keeping aside their professional ambitions and joining the protesting farmers in solidarity. What inspires you to do this?
I guess this is our moral responsibility. When nothing is going right, we can't sit silently in our homes or in our safe spaces, or it's not like we don't have anything else in our life. It's not like we are velle, but I guess this is more important at the movement which we are doing, because it's not just about the farmers. Even in the past we have witnessed how young people, they don't have basic education. And people like me who are graduated from various colleges or universities, from many prestigious institutes of this country, they don't have any job. They are unemployed. And now here comes the farmers. And the government is trying to grab their land, or they are trying to monopolize the whole agricultural system. So I think now we can't keep silent anymore.
What is your message to the youngsters? Again, what would you like to tell them?
I have a privilege of growing up in an activist family. I'm seeing farmers protest from the age of say 5, 6, and I also went to jail once in one agitation in Chandigarh and faced custodial beating at that time. So yes, we are going through all this from a long time now, and you can say we are Andolanjeevis from a long time. But I guess that's not something our sole goal in the life, but that's our duty.
Well, that time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you the latest COVID news. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's get you the latest COVID numbers. And even as India administered over 3 lakh vaccines a day on Sunday, India registered a spike over 25,000 cases on Sunday over the last 24 hours. And Maharashtra reported over 16,000 cases. That's the highest this year. And a worry for Delhi as well, which has reported over 400 cases for the 4th consecutive day.
India's COVID cases on the rise. In the last 24 hours, India registered 25,320 cases, the highest daily cases in almost 3 months. The biggest concern are Maharashtra, Kerala and Punjab, which account for 77% of India's total active cases. Maharashtra's worst affected district, Pune has over 24,000 active cases. In Kerala, Ernakulam has over 4,000 active cases. In Punjab, Jalandhar has over 1,400 active cases. In Maharashtra, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has ordered hotels and restaurants in the state to ensure strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols on their premises and not force the state to enforce drastic measures like a lockdown.
There is a rapid increase in cases in central Maharashtra, eastern and central Maharashtra. This is somewhat worrying because it may be that a new wave of pandemic is starting. The other reasons could be that the people are not taking precautions in those areas and overcrowding is happening in social events and in other marketplaces, etc.
Punjab has shut schools across the state and has imposed night curfews in 8 districts including Ludhiana. Yet, throughout the day, markets witness heavy crowds like these. In Madhya Pradesh, which figures among the 8 states seeing a surge in daily cases, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan met the Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan today to discuss the COVID situation and the medical infrastructure of the state.
ये बढ़ते हुए केस हमारी चिंता का विषय है। मैं पैनिक नहीं करना चाहता, लेकिन मैं आगाह करना चाहता हूँ, सावधान करना चाहता हूँ और आग्रह करता हूँ, निवेदन करता हूँ जनता जनार्दन से कि सावधानी में सुरक्षा, ये मास्क मत हटाइए। मैं नहीं चाहता कि अब लॉकडाउन फिर से लगाने की स्थिति पैदा हो।
The Union Health Secretary has been holding regular review meetings with chief secretaries of states that have been seeing a surge in cases. Several central teams of experts have also been sent to states to assist them in controlling the situation. In New Delhi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Welcome back. Now an exclusive interview with Yashwant Sinha, the one-time cabinet minister in the Vajpayee government who has now joined the Trinamool Congress. We asked him about his future plans and whether this would mean he will now get involved with Bengal politics.
Well, joining us now, Yashwant Sinha, former finance and foreign minister and now a leader with the Trinamool Congress. Mr. Sinha, great to see you in a completely new avatar, quite unexpected. Who would have thought that I wouldn't be introducing you today as a BJP leader or a former BJP leader, but a Trinamool leader today. But sir, the imagery today is significant in Bengal because in 1990, Mamta was struck by a CPM man, by a CPM goon, when she, and then she was injured, but she reappeared campaigning for a mid-term poll. And she had bandages on her head and arm, and that imagery may have worked then. In fact, it did because she won by a 13% margin. Now, do you believe her injuries this time around, the fact that she is on a wheelchair campaigning, will work to her electoral advantage?
Well, you know, despite the falsehood which has been sought to be spread by the BJP and other adversaries of Mamta Banerjee, the fact of the matter is that she is hurt, that her leg is in a plaster cast, she is unable to move, she is hurt at many other places also, and she is still campaigning in this condition. So naturally, it is quite natural that this will evoke the sympathy of the people like it did way back. And I'm quite sure that the people were with her even from before, and this will be an added incentive for her, for them to support Mamta Banerjee.
Mr. Sinha, at last count, there were approximately 16 Trinamool leaders who had quit the party. How does your joining Mamta Banerjee make a serious difference to the prospects of the Trinamool Congress? Your detractors would say it makes no difference at all.
That is not really for me to assess. You know, all this happened rather quickly. To tell you the truth, I just sent a very cryptic small message to Derek O'Brien in which I said that if my joining the TMC will help you gain even one more seat, then I'm willing to do that. And he moved very quickly And within a day, everything was tied up. I traveled to Kolkata, met Mamta Banerjee, and then joined the Trinamool Congress in the Trinamool office. I returned to Delhi yesterday in the evening, but the reason why I did it was that I wanted to strengthen her hands. She's fighting her battle, she's fighting the battle of Bengal, but she's also fighting for the nation. This Bengal election, because of all the hype that the BJP has created around it, has suddenly become an election of national importance. And therefore, it's very important that Mamta wins and that the BJP loses in Bengal, which will send a nationwide message of assurance.
In this partnership, or are you part of the Trinamool today because of the elections and what you mentioned, or are you going to have a serious stake in the politics of Bengal going forward, in development and everything associated with it in Bengal going forward? Will you be, in a sense, a Bengali leader, a leader from Bengal?
Well, now that I am in the Trinamool Congress, it entirely depends on the party to give me whatever responsibilities and role they want me to play in the present election as well as in future. So I am leaving it to them. I joined them unconditionally. I had absolutely no conditions, preconditions for joining the party. And, like I've always done, it's entirely up to the leadership of the party to give me the role and the responsibility they want me to discharge.
Now, Mr. Sinha, let's look at the situation on the ground in Bengal. Now, in 2019, the Trinamool relied heavily on support from the Muslim voter. They make up 27% of Bengal's population. This, in fact, gave her approximately a 9% boost in her overall vote share. But now the left and the Congress have tied up with the young cleric Abbas Siddiqui. He's extremely charismatic. Will this not damage the BJP's prospects?
Well, I'll not like to discuss the voting pattern in terms of communities. I think Mamta Banerjee and the TMC appeal across all sections, which includes the minorities. Other political parties, in this case, the left and the Congress, are also in the fray. And I would consider it very natural for every participant in this election to increase its vote share.
Right.
So the tying up with this outfit does raise questions like in your mind. But let me also tell you that the minorities have always voted very wisely in all elections. They know what is good for them, what is not good for them, and therefore they will vote wisely in this election also, irrespective of where somebody else is or not.
What about the importance of upper castes in Bengal elections? Now, they account for 12 to 13% of Bengal's population. And here you've got a Mithun Chakrabarti who has joined the BJP, an upper caste person. He could make a mark, and he's very popular still in Bengal. Again, is that a concern?
I don't think that is a concern. I think the biggest star in Bengal today is Mamta Banerjee herself. And there is no other star who can come anywhere near her. And as I said earlier, let every party try and do its best in the election. But ultimately, I have no doubt in my mind that it will be a thumping victory for the TMC.
Now, you've spoken about something which not many, I certainly didn't know about, that when there was that the Kandahar hijack, the Indian Airlines plane was hijacked to Kandahar, there was a discussion, and Mamta Banerjee said that she would go there as a hostage, right? So she would go be a hostage for the Taliban if they released all those passengers. Tell us a little bit about how that actually happened. What exactly did Mamta say?
Well, it happened like this, that the cabinet was meeting, and naturally the discussion was on the hostages who had been taken to Kandahar in that Indian Airlines hijacked plane. And those very difficult times, you will recall, And in the cabinet meeting, Mamta Banerjee offered that if it helped, she was prepared to go to Kandahar and offer herself as a hostage in lieu of the release of all the passengers of the Indian Airlines plane. It was, I thought, a very courageous act on her part to make this offer. Of course, the situation was not conducive for this kind of a bargain, so it didn't really materialize. But I can't forget it because I was present in that meeting and I thought it was an act of great courage on her part to make this kind of an offer.
Yeah. Mr. Sinha, one or two final questions. Can Mamta seriously unite an anti-BJP opposition? Because let's look at who's supporting Mamta at this stage. There's the Shiv Sena, there's the RJD, the JMM, the NCP and the Samajwadi Party. But parties staying away are the Congress and left. They're fighting these elections alone. But, you know, looking at not just Bengal, but at the larger issue of an anti-BJP coalition, where do you see the Trinamool in this? Do you see the Trinamool as a leader?
I would only like to say this at this point of time, that Mamta's victory in the Bengal elections and the size of that victory is going to be crucial for opposition unity going forward. And obviously, if Mamta is able to win Bengal, as I'm sure she will, then, she already is a very important leader of the opposition. She will be an even more important leader of the opposition. And I'm quite sure she would like to play her role in bringing the opposition parties together to take on the BJP.
All right, Mr. Yashwant Sinha, a new innings for you in your long distinguished political career. All the very best. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Well, in other news now, apple farmers across the north of India are worried. They are coming together to protest what they say are apples grown in Iran being illegally imported and then marketed as apples from Afghanistan, a country with which India has a free trade agreement. Here's a report.
Of course, in this situation, apple farmers of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are in Srinagar to join hands with fruit growers of Kashmir to protect India's apple industry from what they claim is an invasion by Iranian apple. The farmers say Iranian fruit is making its way into the Indian market as Afghan apple, which is exempt from import duties.
We are demanding the government of India that this should be stopped immediately, otherwise it is going to ruin the apple economy. They are illegally bringing these apples and evading the import duty also.
लगभग सिर्फ 40 रुपए 45 रुपए किलो यहाँ दिल्ली की मार्केट में उतर रहा है आजकल। इस गैर कानूनी रास्ते से नुकसान हो रहा है भारत सरकार के आयात शुल्क को, और साथ साथ हम जो हिमाचल प्रदेश के या जम्मू कश्मीर के किसान बागवान है, उनकी जो आर्थिकी है, रीढ़ की हड्डी है, उसको भी एक बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हमें सहना पड़ रहा है।
Over 18,000 tons of apple has come into the Indian market through Afghanistan route so far this year. Farmers are worried that they may lose market if Iranian apples flood the mandis. Praveen Sharma from Uttarakhand says the fledgling apple growers in his state could bear the maximum brunt as they have small land holdings.
Seeing the challenge that the apple is going to face a challenge because of international players like Iran, who is playing a filthy game of illegal trade. So we have to work together to fight this challenge.
Farmers say off-season import of apple from Afghanistan led to suspicion. Afghanistan has no cold storage facility. An import of apple in the month of February and March, farmers claim, is clear evidence that it's not the Afghan produce that's reaching the Indian mandi.
जो इनका हार्वेस्टिंग पीरियड है वो है सितंबर अक्टूबर, और इस वक्त तो मार्च है, मार्च के अंदर उनके पास ये स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी नहीं है, तो ये से फिर कहां से आ रहा है?
Growers say it is an Iranian apple invasion, and apple growers from Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir and Uttarakhand have formed a joint platform to fight it together. Question is, are private players manipulating India-Afghanistan free trade agreement? In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
And from the apple orchard protesters to the farm protests, and at the ongoing farmers' protests on the Delhi borders, from makeshift libraries to gyms and salons, we've seen it all. But here is a story of how youngsters are taking time out from their profession and making productive use at the borders. A group of volunteers at Tikri have opened a Kisan school that provides basic education to children of migrant laborers.
I'm joined by Mr. Anup here, Mr. Anup Singh. Mr. Anup Chanaut, आपने यहाँ पे एक किसान स्कूल खोल रखा है बच्चों के लिए. ज़रा इसके बारे में बताइए, क्योंकि प्रोटेस्ट भी चल रहा है, किसान आंदोलन भी है, लेकिन बीच में एक स्कूल भी है.
हाँ बिल्कुल, हमें जब ये लगा कि सरकार की मंशा नहीं है, अभी लंबा चलेगा हमारा आंदोलन, तो उस पर 1 महीना पहले हमारा ख्याल है कि इस चीज़ को हम कर सकते हैं कि जो बच्चे हमारे पास आते हैं, गरीब के बच्चे जो आसपास की कच्ची कॉलोनी के बच्चे हैं, क्यों ना इनको पढ़ाया जाए. फिर हमने 1 महीना पहले स्टार्ट किया था और फिर 42 बच्चे हमारे पास हो गए हैं.
42?
हाँ,
मतलब 40 से ऊपर. हाँ, तो
42 बच्चे, और बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स जो इनके फैक्ट्री में काम करते हैं वो हमारे पास आते हैं शाम के टाइम कि आप हमारे बच्चों को भी पढ़ाओ, क्योंकि लास्ट ईयर इनका कोविड के चलते इनका पूरा वेस्ट हो गया था. तो अब हम चाहते हैं कि इन बच्चों का कम से कम जब तक हम यहाँ रहें तब तक हम इनको यहाँ पढ़ाएं. और ये किसानों की भी सेवा के साथ साथ हम चाहते हैं कि आसपास के बच्चों की भी सेवा हो, क्योंकि गरीब घर में ही पैदा हुए हैं, प्राइवेट स्कूल में जा नहीं सकते हैं. सरकारी स्कूल इतने अच्छे हैं नहीं सच्चाई में, क्योंकि हमारा शिक्षा का जो सिस्टम वो बहुत बेकार है. तो हम चाहते हैं कि जो गरीब घर में जो पैदा हुए हैं, जिसको भगवान ने कम दिया है, उसको हम ज़्यादा दे सकते हैं अपनी तरफ से.
एक बात बताइए, फिर इसका मतलब ये होता है कि आप अपने टाइम से भी निकाल के इन बच्चों के लिए सेवा कर रहे हैं. आसपास आंदोलन में कई तरह की सेवा हो रहा है, लंगर के द्वारा, दवाइयों के द्वारा, बहुत जगहों पे हम देख रहे हैं सेवा हर जगह हो रही है. आप एजुकेशन, पढ़ाई के माध्यम से इनकी मदद करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. इतने सारे 40 बच्चे आपने कहा, 42 चिल्ड्रन हैव कम हियर. आप खुद अपना प्रोफेशन को साइड में रखते हुए भी आप ये निभा रहे हैं. आपको मोटिवेशन कहाँ से मिलता है, इंस्पिरेशन कहाँ से मिलता है ये करने के लिए?
देखिए, किसान पुत्र होने के नाते मैंने इस एजिटेशन को ज्वाइन किया था, लेकिन हमें ये पता नहीं था कितना लंबा आंदोलन चलेगा. हम यहाँ पे जो स्टेज का होता है, हमारा 3 बजे तक का प्रोग्राम होता है, 3 साढ़े 3 बजे तक. पहले वो कोऑर्डिनेट करते हैं दिन में, उसके बाद 2 घंटे बच्चों को पढ़ाने में काम करते हैं. क्योंकि हमारा यही है कि जब शिक्षा का स्तर हमारे देश का अच्छा हो जाएगा, तो जब ये बच्चे आगे आवाज़ उठाएंगे सरकार के खिलाफ, कोई भी अन्याय करती है सरकार, शोषण करती है, तो कम से कम आवाज़ उठाने लायक हम लोग हो जाए. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Now at the Grammys, nominees joined virtually from different parts of the world. Indian singer Priyadarshini was nominated for her album Periphery in the Best New Age Album category. She spoke exclusively to NDTV's Rohit Khilnani late last night. Listen in.
A Grammy nomination is a huge deal, so congratulations for that.
Thank you so much.
You know, firstly, could you tell the audience what was this year's Grammy like? You know, nobody could be there physically. What were you told as a nominee?
Everything happened virtually. So I was in our apartment, going online, going live on the Grammys website. So It was very different from, I'm sure, it's my first time. So I'm sure it's very different from being on the red carpet.
Talking about Periphery, you recorded this in a church in Brooklyn, and also this was recorded live, is it? Why that decision of doing that? Because that's so challenging, right?
It is incredibly challenging. It's a brilliant innovation. And if you hear the record, you'll hear, on headphones especially, you'll hear the whole space. So the whole idea is to me, it feels like the whole idea is to have a collaboration with the architecture of the space, the music, and the recording technology. Right. So in a way, it's so timeless because the style of recording, we recorded this whole album on one microphone, live, you know, just doing 2 or 3 takes top to bottom and then picking a take that we liked best. There's something beautiful about keeping human errors.
Very outstanding work and great music. Before I wrap this, the award ceremony is still going on. Any favorites? There's BTS, there's Taylor Swift, Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish. Any bets you're placing?
Well, there's so many incredible artists. Firstly, but I'm definitely cheering for my dear friend Anushka.
Of
She
course.
is an incredible artist, and I really, really hope she wins. She's been nominated 7 times, and I really hope this time she wins. But again, that said, a win or no win, a nomination itself is awesome. So no matter what, I don't think this actually describes or defines music being good or bad. It just shines light on your music in that moment. So I really hope that she gets more light shining on
Right.
her.
And all you talented people, you all have reached that far. Getting a nomination, that's itself is a huge deal. Thank you so much for talking to us, Priya.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat. Our top story, the BJP has announced its candidates, its first list is for 4 states. And in Bengal, the list includes 4 MPs as well as a minister, including Loket Chatterjee, Swapan Das Gupta, Babul Supriyo, a singer turned politician, and the junior environment minister is on that list. And he will be contesting from the Tollygunj in Kolkata, the heart of the state's film industry. So from a minister, he'll be contesting the assembly elections. Actor turned politician, Loket Chatterjee will run from Shinsura in Hooghly district, Swapan Das Gupta from Tarkeshwar in the same district. 4 celebrities are also part of the BJP's list, which includes actor Yash Das Gupta, who will contest from Chanditala, Hooghly, and actor Payal Sarkar from Behala East. Well, NDTV's Monideepa spoke to Loket Chatterjee and questioned her about being asked to contest the assembly elections, as she's a sitting MP. The Trinamool Congress too has taken a swipe at the BJP for fielding 4 MPs.
From MP to MLA, are you looking forward to it or are you upset?
नो ऐसा कुछ बात नहीं, ये पार्टी का निर्देश है। मैं 2016 में भी लड़ी थी, हार गई थी। 2019 में हुगली से लड़ी थी। अभी पार्टी का ऊपर से निर्देश आया, लड़ना होगा तो मैं लड़ूंगी। पार्टी के लिए तो सब कुछ करना पड़ेगा, ये पार्टी का आदर्श है।
कह रहे हैं कि बीजेपी के कोई कैंडिडेट्स ही नहीं है, इसलिए एमपीज को लगा दिया।
तो इसका क्या मतलब है? बीजेपी में सब लोग कैंडिडेट्स है। बंगाल में जनता ही कैंडिडेट है। बंगाल में जो जनता है वो बीजेपी के सपोर्ट कर रहा है, वो वही कैंडिडेट है। हम लोग उसका साथ दे रहा है।
साथ साथ आपके साथ बाबुल सुप्रियो को लगा दिया टॉलीगंज से कोलकाता में, क्यों?
बहुत अच्छा है, बाबुल लड़ेगा टालीगंज से। टालीगंज वासी बाबुल को चाहता है, हुगली वासी मुझे चाहता है, इसलिए हमको लड़ना पड़ेगा।
आज तो आपने देखा ममता बनर्जी का व्हील चेयर रैली, योर कमेंट्स?
देखिए, जल्दी वो स्वस्थ होकर मैदान में आए, मैं ये प्रेयर करता हूँ। लेकिन इसको लेकर राजनीति नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि उन्होंने जो नंदीग्राम के जनता के लिए जो उन्होंने एलिगेशन दिया था कि जनता ने पूरा षड्यंत्र करके बीजेपी नेताओं ने उसको धक्का मारा है, उसके बाद इलेक्शन कमीशन का जो रिपोर्ट आया था कि बोला है जिन्हें ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ था, ये सिर्फ एक्सीडेंट था। इसके लिए नंदीग्राम वासी को उसका क्षमा चाहना होगा। और अगले जो इलेक्शन होगा ये डेवलपमेंट का होगा इलेक्शन, ये डेवलपमेंट का कंपटीशन होना चाहिए, ये सिंपैथी का कंपटीशन नहीं होना चाहिए।
तो आपको क्या लगता है, सिंपैथी कार्ड खेला है तृणमूल?
ये विक्टिम कार्ड तो हम लोग देखे हैं कि अगर उसको पूरा अभी जो लक्ष्य है वो लक्ष्य से वो पूरा बाहर हो गया है, वो डर गया है कि 21 में तृणमूल सरकार नहीं आएगा, इसलिए ये विक्टिम कार्ड चल रहा है। नहीं चलेगा।
आहत शेरनी, उसने कहा है अपने काम।
बंगाल में घर घर में आहत शेरनी है, घर घर में बहुत सारा चोट भी पहुंचे हैं, नारी के ऊपर अत्याचार भी हुआ है। वो शेरनी क्या करेगा? वो शेरनी ईवीएम बॉक्स में जवाब देंगे।
Now in Bengal, a day after her wheelchair Padayatra in Kolkata, Mamta Banerjee will be addressing her first rally from a wheelchair in Purulia, and Amit Shah as well, 140 kilometers away. He will be holding a rally in Jhargram. Meanwhile, he's steered clear of the Nandigram incident. Now the EC order says it was a security lapse and not an attack. Trinamool leaders have welcomed the order. MP Ashwagandha Roy said at least some steps have been taken. Well, let's go across to Monideepa now for more. And Moni, it's going to be another action-packed day, another rally by Mamta Banerjee on the wheelchair. But talking about what the Election Commission has said, the Trinamool Congress, while welcoming the observations about security lapses, have not said anything about the EC, saying it was not any attack, it was an accident.
That's right. They have completely stayed quiet on it, despite the fact that a whole team of their MPs, the Trinamool MPs, went to the Election Commission, earlier wrote to the Election Commission, claiming that it was a conspiracy, an attempt on the life of Mamta Banerjee, and that it was a brazen attack on her. That seems to have been toned down considerably. And even on the streets, yesterday when I was at Mamta Banerjee's rally, we were talking to her supporters, and they too seem to have been, seem to have sort of taken that that stand that Mamta Banerjee never said, the BJP had tried to kill me. Mamta Banerjee never said the BJP attacked me. She said there were no policemen when the whole incident happened, and that's what the Election Commission has now said. So yes, indeed, from the Trinamool Congress side, there seems to be a distinct toning down of the conspiracy, the pre-planned attack note. But from the BJP side, I have to tell you, they have realized that the sympathy card, the victim card, as Locket Chatterjee calls it, could be a potent device, and there is an all-around agreement that they should not say too much about this whole incident and play into the hands of the Trinamool Congress. Amit Shah left it yesterday at saying, the people of Bengal know everything.
Right. Moni, I also want to ask you about the list being announced for Bengal and how the BJP is fielding 4 MPs, one of them a minister there. The Trinamool taking a swipe at that, saying that they have no people, no faces in Bengal, and they're asking MPs to fight the assembly election.
Yes, indeed. Yesterday, in the list of 27, not only are there 4 members of parliament, there are also 8 former Trinamool, leaders, Trinamool defectors who have gone over to the BJP, and those include Rajiv Banerjee, the minister of Mamta Banerjee, who is now being fielded in his old seat, Domjur. And then there is Probir Ghoshal, who is an MLA from Uttarpara. He had gone from Trinamool to BJP, and he too has been fielded in the same seat. Yes, indeed, Trinamool Congress taking a jibe at the BJP for failing to really come up with candidates on their own, which is which you can see is happening, and BJP is trying to maximize the winnability factor and taking on people who have come in from other parties as well. But the 4 MPs, now that's a real potent kind of move that they have made, and many are admitting that having Babul Supriyo fight from Tollygunge in Kolkata is quite a big move. Tollygunge, remember, interestingly, when Mamta Banerjee was reading out the list of her candidates for the first time, 291 candidates, she had kind of said, as Trinamool says in jest, she had told Arup Biswas, who is the Trinamool candidate and a very senior minister in the Mamta Banerjee government, she told him, Arup, I might contest from Tollygunge as well. And that had triggered a lot of debate on whether Mamta Banerjee had said so because she was nervous about Nandigram or something like that. The BJP at least claimed that was so. But now we have Babul Supriyo going in over there to contest against this senior minister, and it will be a fight to watch indeed. Locket Chatterjee, certainly an interesting choice for Chinsura. She is already an MP from the area and a very active one, and obviously the BJP rates her chances of winning very, very high. BJP trying to field winnable candidates and certainly exposing some kind of shortages in their list.
All right, Moni, thanks so much for joining us there with the very latest. News now from Tamil Nadu, and a fan of actor Kamal Haasan tried to open the window of his car, and the crowd around him, supporters of Kamal Haasan, then beat up this individual. He was even hospitalized. Well, let's go across to Sam Daniel for the very latest. And Sam, tell us what happened, because initially there were reports that Kamal Haasan's car was attacked. However, this man, it seems, was a fan. But he was also beaten up so badly he had to be taken to hospital.
That's right. Police have ruled out it was an attempt to attack or damage Kamal Haasan's car or to attack him, Gargi. This happened last night after Kamal Haasan spoke or addressed the public meeting in Kanchipuram and left for Chennai. This man, who police say is a fan of actor Kamal Haasan, tried to open the window of his car as the car was moving. And at that time, the people present there caught him, attacked him, and now he has been hospitalized. And police say he was under the influence of alcohol. He was drunk, and M&M sources say they're trying to find out if he had any other motive. But at the moment, police rule out any such motive, and this happened a day before actor Kamal Haasan would file his nomination from the Coimbatore South constituency today actually, and we are waiting for a formal statement from MNM, but some leaders have said they're actually probing, and these kind of incidents will not really influence or impact Kamal Hassan's resolve in Tamil Nadu politics in any way.
All right, Sam, thanks so much for joining us with those details. In other news, siding with farmers protesting the centre's new agricultural laws, Meghalaya Governor Satyapal Malik, who was speaking in Bhagpat on Sunday, urged Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah not to offend them. Speaking at an event at his home district, he said that if the centre gives the legal guarantee of the minimum support price for the crops, the farmers will relent. He says, I will make sure they call off the protest.
किसानों का तो जो सत्यानाश है उनके बिना जाने हो रहा है। ये बहुत शोर भी मचाया गया कि हमने दूसरी जगह कहीं भी जाके बेच सकते हुए, तो 15 साल पहले का कानून है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी मथुरा का किसान जब गेहूं लेके पलवल आता है तो उस पे लाठीचार्ज हो जाता है। सोनीपत का जब नरेला आता है तो लाठीचार्ज हो जाता है। तो ये सब कहने की बातें, कोई कानून उनके पक्ष में लागू नहीं है आज की तारीख में। तो इसको सेटल करना चाहिए। किसानों को दबा के यहाँ से भेजना, अपमानित करके दिल्ली से भेजना, पहले तो ये जाएंगे नहीं, ये जाने को नहीं आए दिल्ली में। दूसरे चले गए तो ये 300 बरस भूलेंगे नहीं। लिहाजा इनको कुछ देके, एक चीज है, ज्यादा करना भी नहीं है, सिर्फ एमएसपी का कानूनी तौर पे उसको मान्यता दे दो, सारा मामला मेरी जिम्मेदारी, मैं नहीं बंटवा दूंगा। अगर एमएसपी को कानूनी मान्यता दे देंगे तो इन कानूनों में तो जो जो संशोधन चाहते हैं किसान दे देंगे, सरकार तैयार है, मामला खत्म हो जाएगा।
Well, let's go across to Akhilesh for more on that story. And Akhilesh, it's very curious, the Meghalaya Governor Satyapal Malik, they're talking, about the farmers, entreating the centre to listen to them and give them that legal guarantee. What do we make of this?
Well, I think, Gargi, there are two aspects of what Mr. Satyapal Malik has said. First is about his own personality, because he is known to make controversial statements. He is an outspoken governor, and he was first appointed governor of Bihar, and then he was shifted to Jammu and Kashmir, and he was heading the state that time when Article 370 was abolished, and that time also he used to make controversial statements, and after that he was shifted to Goa, and now he has been given charge of Meghalaya. So he has travelled a lot in the past 4 years and has made a lot of controversial statements, and he himself has said on many occasions that he is known to make such kind of statements, and it takes 3 to 4 days to give clarifications on his own statements. So this is the first aspect of what he has said. And second aspect is, of course, the ground feedback which the BJP has been getting from the Western UP, which is a Jat majority belt, and where the BJP had done remarkably well in the past 3 elections. But this time the ground feedback which the BJP leaders are getting, that Jats are, in particularly, they are agitated. What has happened at the Ghazipur border when Rakesh Tikait was threatened to be getting arrested, and now Mr. Malik himself is saying that he intervened, that Mr. Tikait should not be arrested. So it actually demonstrates that how difficult the situation has become for the BJP as far as the Western UP is concerned. And if I recall correctly, after Chaudhry Viren Singh was a stalwart Jat leader in Haryana, Satyapal Malik is the second senior Jat leader of the BJP who is now making such statements against these farm laws. So of course the BJP will be having a tough time in dealing with this kind of situation.
All right, Akhilesh, thanks so much for joining us with that. Well, speaking of the farmers' protest, several youngsters have kept aside their professional ambitions to stand in solidarity with the protesting farmers. NDTV Sonakshi met with one of them, 29-year-old Navkiran Nut, who belongs to the Mansa district in Punjab, who has a degree in film studies, and she's been volunteering at the Tikri border for the last 3 months.
Navkiran Nut, thank you for speaking to us. You have a story that could inspire many youngsters to really tell them that there is a reason why youngsters are keeping aside their professional ambitions and joining the protesting farmers in solidarity. What inspires you to do this?
I guess this is our moral responsibility. When nothing is going right, we can't sit silently in our homes or in our safe spaces, or like it's not like we don't have anything else in our life. It's not like we are velle, but I guess this is more important at the movement which we are doing, because it's not just about the farmers. Even in the past we have witnessed how young people, they don't have basic education, and people like me who are graduated from various colleges or universities, from many prestigious institutes of this country, they don't have any job. They are unemployed, and now here comes the farmers. I'm like, the government is trying to grab their land, or they are trying to monopolize the whole agricultural system. So I think now we can't keep silent anymore.
What is your message to the youngsters? Again, what would you like to tell them?
I have a privilege of growing up in an activist family. I'm seeing the farmers protest from the age of say 5, 6, and I also went to jail once in one agitation in Chandigarh and faced custodial beating at that time. So yes, I'm like, we are going through all this from a long time now, and you can say we are Andolan Jeevis from a long time. But I guess that's not something like our sole goal in the life, but that's our duty.
Welcome back. Well, let's now take a look at how the markets are opening this Monday, and let's just bring up those figures there. And the Sensex opening in the red. Sensex down 318 points, as you can see, trading at 50,474.04 points. So not a very good start to the markets this week, and on Monday morning opening deep in the red, even though there was a rally in global stocks. Let's take a look at the banking stocks now. And remember, employees of banks, around 10 lakh of them are on a 2-day strike starting today. So let's bring up those numbers. And there you can see the banking stocks also all in the red. Yes Bank down 2.20%, trading at 15.55. SBI trading at 375, down 1.59%. And the Federal Bank also in the red there. And let's take a look at the oil stocks now, and the top losers. And GAIL is trading at 144, down 1.174%. Now, oil prices did edge up on Monday, with Brent drifting near the $70 a barrel mark, which is propped up by output cuts from major producers. So there you can see IGL also trading down 504.9. It's down 0.79%. Castrol India is down 0.96%. Let's take a look at FMCG company stocks and how they're faring this Monday morning, and a lot of red on the screen again. You can see there Britannia Indus is trading at 3,435, down just 0.02%. Gillette India down as well, and Tata Coffee is trading at 130. Nestle as well is down. ITC trading at 203.60, down 0.78%. Global Spirits also trading at 320, also down. Let's bring up those auto stocks now and take a look at how they're faring today. Well, Maruti Suzuki, the only green on the screen, as you can see there, trading at 7,100, 0.20 points up. Tata Motors in the red, down 0.88%, trading at 314, and Mahindra & Mahindra at trading at 845, down down 1%. TVS Motors in the green at 585, and Hero MotoCorp and Bajaj Auto both in the red this morning. Bajaj Auto trading at 3,708, down 1.03%. Well, let's take a look at Parliament news now. And after a stormy budget session, a week due to the uproar over the hike in fuel prices, both houses of Parliament expected to return to a somewhat more normalcy today. In the Rajya Sabha, opposition likely to raise the issue of the farmers' protest. A discussion is also expected on the impact that COVID has had on revenue in tourism and tourism sector and railways. Let's go across to Sukirti now for more. Sukirti, tell us more about what's expected. And of course, the last week were dominated by fireworks in Parliament.
Well, absolutely. The last week was very chaotic, where several issues were supposed to be discussed, but a lot of chaos kept unfolding as the opposition constantly tried to have a discussion on the fuel prices issue, and they wanted answers from the government, and that is why things could not proceed as normal. Finally, on Friday, the Lok Sabha Speaker, Mr. Om Birla, held a meeting with all opposition leaders, all the leaders of these parties, and tried to tell them that there are certain constitutional matters, there are bills to be passed, those have to be looked at. So this can't keep going on. So we have to restore normalcy in all possible ways, and that is why things are expected to come back to normal from today. And definitely COVID is going to be among the focal issues at this point of time. We saw just a tweet today morning as well from Congress leader Mr. Rahul Gandhi as well on how the weekly cases have surged by over 33%. And today we are expecting a discussion on the effect of COVID on revenues in the tourism as well as the railway sector. Apart from that, the Union External Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, is also expected to talk about the welfare of NRIs during the COVID situation. So definitely the pandemic is still going on, and that is why COVID cases, especially the surge in India that we've been seeing in the past few weeks, that is expected to be among the big issues that might end up being a matter of discussion today.
All right, Sukirti, thanks so much for joining us there with the very latest, and that's what's expected in Parliament. Now, let's take a look at the COVID news. And even as India has administered over 3 lakh vaccines a day on Sunday, however, the numbers are slowly creeping up. India registered a spike of over 25,000 cases on Sunday. That was the highest in 3 months. And Maharashtra reported over 16,000 cases in a day, which is the highest this year. Delhi also a worry with over 400 cases being reported for the 4th consecutive day. And there you can see a busy market in Mumbai, in Dadar, in Mumbai, and it's just business as usual with the crowds at that market this morning. So even as Mumbai is also seeing a rise in numbers, and Maharashtra, a big worry. There are people, as you can see, out business as usual at the Dadar market this morning. And let's take a look at the Delhi numbers there. And slowly, as you can see, how high the peak was last year, but then it had come down. And even though now it's been 400 for the last 4 days, which doesn't seem too much, it is a worry given that we are seeing that slight increase.
India's COVID cases on the rise. In the last 24 hours, India registered 25,320 cases, the highest daily cases in almost 3 months. The biggest concern are Maharashtra, Kerala and Punjab, which account for 77% of India's total active cases. Maharashtra's worst affected district, Pune, has over 24,000 active cases. In Kerala, Ernakulam has over 4,000 active cases. In Punjab, Jalandhar has over 1,400 active cases. In Maharashtra, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has ordered hotels and restaurants in the state to ensure strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols on their premises and not force the state to enforce drastic measures like a lockdown.
There is a rapid increase in cases in central Maharashtra, eastern and central Maharashtra. This is somewhat worrying because it may be that a new wave of pandemic is starting. The other reasons could be that the people are not taking precautions in those areas, and overcrowding is happening in social events and in other marketplaces, etc.
Punjab has shut schools across the state and has imposed night curfews in 8 districts including Ludhiana. Yet, throughout the day, markets witness heavy crowds like these. In Madhya Pradesh, which figures among the 8 states seeing a surge in daily cases, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan met the Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan today to discuss the COVID situation and the medical infrastructure of the state.
ये बढ़ते हुए केस हमारी चिंता का विषय है। मैं पैनिक नहीं करना चाहता, लेकिन मैं आगाह करना चाहता हूँ, सावधान करना चाहता हूँ और आग्रह करता हूँ, निवेदन करता हूँ जनता जनार्दन से कि सावधानी में सुरक्षा, ये मास्क मत हटाइए। मैं नहीं चाहता कि अब लॉकडाउन फिर से लगाने की स्थिति पैदा हो।
The Union Health Secretary has been holding regular review meetings with chief secretaries of states that have been seeing a surge in cases. Several central teams of experts have also been sent to states to assist them in controlling the situation. In New Delhi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Now, apple farmers across the north of India are a worried lot. They're coming together to protest what they say are apples grown in Iran being illegally imported and marketed as apples from Afghanistan, a country with which India has a free trade agreement.
Of course, in this situation,
apple farmers of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are in Srinagar to join hands with fruit growers of Kashmir to protect India's apple industry from what they claim is an invasion by Iranian apple. The farmers say Iranian fruit is making its way into the Indian market as Afghan apple, which is exempt from import duties.
We are demanding the government of India that this should be stopped immediately, otherwise it is going to ruin the apple economy. They are illegally bringing these apples and evading the import duty also.
लगभग सिर्फ 40 रुपए 45 रुपए किलो यहाँ दिल्ली की मार्केट में उतर रहा है आजकल। इस गैर कानूनी रास्ते से नुकसान हो रहा है भारत सरकार के आयात शुल्क को, और साथ साथ हम जो हिमाचल प्रदेश या जम्मू कश्मीर के किसान बागवान है, उनकी जो आर्थिकी है, रीढ़ की हड्डी है, उसको भी एक बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हमें सहना पड़ रहा है।
Over 18,000 tons of apple has come into the Indian market through Afghanistan route so far this year. Farmers are worried that they may lose market if Iranian apples flood the mandis. Praveen Sharma from Uttarakhand says the fledgling apple growers in his state could bear the maximum brunt as they have small land holdings.
Seeing the challenge that the apple is going to face a challenge because of international players like Iran, who is playing a filthy game of illegal trade. So we have to work together to fight this challenge.
Farmers say off-season import of apple from Afghanistan led to suspicion. Afghanistan has no cold storage facility. An import of apple in the month of February and March, farmers claim, is clear evidence that it's not the Afghan produce that's reaching the Indian mandi.
जो इनका हार्वेस्टिंग पीरियड है वो है सितंबर अक्टूबर, और इस वक्त तो मार्च है, मार्च के अंदर उनके पास ये स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी नहीं है, तो ये इसे फिर कहां से आ रहा है?
Growers say it is an Iranian apple invasion, and apple growers from Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir and Uttarakhand have formed a joint platform to fight it together. Question is, are private players manipulating India-Afghanistan free trade agreement? In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
Now, the ongoing farmers' protests on the Delhi borders, from makeshift libraries to gyms and salons, we've seen it all. But here's a story of how youngsters are taking time out from their profession and making productive use at the Tikri border in Delhi, where a group of volunteers have opened a Kisan school that provides basic education to children of migrant laborers.
I'm joined by Mr. Anoop here, Mr. Anoop Singh, Mr. Anoop Chanaut. आपने यहाँ पे एक किसान स्कूल खोल रखा है बच्चों के लिए, ज़रा इसके बारे में बताइए, क्योंकि प्रोटेस्ट भी चल रहा है, किसान आंदोलन भी है, लेकिन बीच में एक स्कूल भी है।
हाँ बिल्कुल, हमें जब ये लगा कि सरकार की मंशा नहीं है, अभी लंबा चलेगा हमारा आंदोलन, तो उस पर 1 महीना पहले हमारे ख्याल आया कि इस चीज़ को हम कर सकते हैं कि जो बच्चे हमारे पास आते हैं, गरीब के बच्चे जो आसपास की कच्ची कॉलोनी के बच्चे हैं, क्यों ना इनको पढ़ाया जाए। फिर हमने 1 महीना पहले स्टार्ट किया था और फिर 42 बच्चे हमारे पास हो गए हैं।
42?
हाँ,
मतलब 40 से ऊपर तो हो ही
बच्चे, और बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स जो इनके फैक्ट्री में काम करते हैं वो हमारे पास आते हैं शाम के टाइम कि आप हमारे बच्चों को भी पढ़ाओ, क्योंकि लास्ट ईयर इनका कोविड के चलते इनका पूरा वेस्ट हो गया था। तो अब हम चाहते हैं कि इन बच्चों का कम से कम जब तक हम यहाँ रहें तब तक हम इनको यहाँ पढ़ाएं, और ये किसानों की भी सेवा के साथ साथ हम चाहते हैं कि आसपास के बच्चों की भी सेवा हो, क्योंकि गरीब घर में ही पैदा हुए हैं, प्राइवेट स्कूल में जा नहीं सकते हैं। सरकारी स्कूल इतने अच्छे हैं नहीं सच्चाई में, क्योंकि हमारा शिक्षा का जो सिस्टम वो बहुत बेकार है। तो हम चाहते हैं कि जो गरीब घर में जो पैदा हुए हैं, जिसको भगवान ने कम दिया है, उसको हम ज़्यादा दे सकते हैं अपनी तरफ से।
बात बताए फिर, इसका मतलब ये होता है कि आप अपने टाइम से भी निकाल के इन बच्चों के लिए सेवा कर रहे हैं। आसपास आंदोलन में कई तरह की सेवा हो रहा है, लंगर के द्वारा, दवाइयों के द्वारा, बहुत जगहों पे हम देख रहे हैं सेवा हर जगह हो रही है। आप एजुकेशन, पढ़ाई के माध्यम से इनकी मदद करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। इतने सारे 40 बच्चे, आपने कहा 42 चिल्ड्रन हैव कम हियर। आप खुद अपना प्रोफेशन को साइड में रखते हुए भी आप ये निभा रहे हैं। आपको मोटिवेशन कहाँ से मिलता है, इंस्पिरेशन कहाँ से मिलता है ये करने के लिए?
देखिए, किसान पुत्र होने के नाते मैंने इस एजिटेशन को ज्वाइन किया था, लेकिन हमें ये पता नहीं था कि इतना लंबा आंदोलन चलेगा। हम यहाँ पे जो स्टेज का होता है, हमारा 3 बजे तक का प्रोग्राम होता है, 3 साढ़े 3 बजे तक। पहले वो कोऑर्डिनेट करते हैं दिन में, उसके बाद 2 घंटे बच्चों को पढ़ाने में काम करते हैं, क्योंकि हमारा यही है कि जब शिक्षा का स्तर हमारे देश का अच्छा हो जाएगा, तो जब ये बच्चे आगे आवाज़ उठाएंगे सरकार के खिलाफ, कोई भी अन्याय करती है सरकार, शोषण करती है, तो कम से कम आवाज़ उठाने लायक हम लोग हो जाएं। ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है।